Tyrice Knight. Oh, yes. That was a bad segue for him.
Womp.
Like, speaking of people from small nothing schools, I mean, let's be honest, UTEP is never going to be the crazy school that gets like all these, great players every single year. But every so often they get a hidden gem here, and that's what you got here. Tyrice Knight, 6'2", 235 pounds. He's one of those guys that no age is given, by the way. It's funny, even on like PFF and all, they just cancel it out like it didn't exist. So he started college in 2018. So you got to figure he's probably around 24 years old. He's probably one of those older players there. 12 games, 95 tackles, 6.5 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 1 interception, 5 passes deflected, 1 forced fumble, which actually, I said 1 fumble recovered, I should say, which actually was a touchdown, and 2 fumbles forced as well there. In 12 games, 140 tackles, 15.5 tackles for loss. That's impressive. Think about that. 140 tackles, which is a ton, by the way. If you don't know that, if you hate to do the math on that, that's a lot. That's a lot. In 12 games, that's a lot. 15.5 tackles for loss. That's more than 10% of his tackles were for a loss. That's pretty goddamn impressive. Then you throw in 4.5 sacks. Yeah. 7 passes deflected. That's also a very high number. 2 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery. Great run stopper, good burst, playmaker, good tackler. You see the pictures at the beginning where he introduced him there. Every single picture of him was just slamming someone to the ground. This guy is not afraid of the violence of the game, and I mean that in the positive way. Now, I will say I cannot get a PFF grade on him because PFF really just did not grade him because of what tiny school he went to. I can watch the tape of what I saw, and what I saw was a guy that excelled. But I got to wonder how much of that excelling was because of where he was. Playing UTEP, it's not exactly like they play the Alabamas and the Georgias or even the Washingtons and the UCLAs and that kind of stuff of the league. They were playing other small schools, teams you want him to beat the hell out of. But again, he beat the hell out of them.
I was about to say he beat the hell out of them. He showed the grit you need to have it to make it a sport like this at a high level. So like you're going to have to go out there and you're going to have to work on him. Like he's going to need work on his technique. He's going to need work on his strength. Like you're going to have to do some work. But at the end of the day, like that aggression he has, that like knowledge of how to, lack of better terms, put someone on their ass. That's something like you can't teach it to everyone. Starfish. Yeah. You can't teach everyone that. So
no, and
that with a little bit of footwork, a little bit, of technique work.
Yeah, he's got to improve his technique. That's one thing, and I think that's partially because of the fact that when you go to a smaller school, not to be disrespectful, but you don't get the same level of coaching as when you go to a big school. You don't.
No,
that's part of it as well. He does need to add some strength. Again, he's 235. I'd like to see him go to like 240 with the low 240s at that point because he doesn't play like a swift linebacker. He plays like a heavy hitter, but he got the average weight. You know what I mean? Like a couple pounds, nothing crazy. He's also got to learn to get it better as reads. He's not the best at kind of looking over, seeing what's happening and anticipating. And again, I think that's partially going to come with time and better coaching as well.
Correct.
If you like trying to develop a guy from a smaller school, this is the guy for you. And I'll tell you what, at the very worst, from the tape I saw of him running people down and just throwing them down to the ground, I would take this guy on my coverage team in a heartbeat and then see what you can develop him into as far as on the field. Because, that's the kind of hitter I like on the team. I like old school football. Yeah. Smash him in the mouth, call it a day, don't apologize, move on, and repeat the process all over again. That's what I like.
Same toes.
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.